So next we have with us an avid environmentalist. She is the co-founder of Five Gyres. How many kids, how many of you know what a gyre is? Probably not very many. Well, they're going to learn in a moment. Join me in welcoming to the microphone Ms. Anna Cummins, co-founder of Five Gyres.
Hello, everyone, and thank you so much to these young people for being here today. My name is Anna Cummins, and I'm the co-founder of the Five Gyres Institute, but I'm also here as a soon-to-be mother who's thinking very carefully about the next generation and the kind of world I want to bring my daughter into. So I want to tell you young people here a very important message. Today, kids, is not just cleaning up our beaches, not just protecting our oceans so that they look nicer, but you might actually be saving lives today. And what we do, our organization, is we study all the plastic that you are picking up on our beaches, but what happens to it when it gets out into the oceans? Well, I picked up this tiny little piece of plastic. We might ignore it thinking no big deal, something you might get on a bread container. But if no one picks this up, and if this goes out into the ocean, it goes on a very long journey, and that's what we study. In 6 to 10 years, this little piece of plastic will travel the currents of the gyres. And a gyre is a big system of currents that swirls around and around. This little piece of plastic can travel from California to Japan and back in 6 to 10 years, swirling around and around in those currents. And as it travels, sunlight breaks it down into small fragments, but it never goes away. Here, kids, a sample of the Pacific Ocean that we collected 1,000 miles off the coast of Hawaii. And what you see in here, it's full of life, little fish and krill and jellyfish, but it's also full of small particles of plastic. You can take a look. So if no one picks up this plastic on the beach, if we don't change our habits on land to prevent this stuff from getting into the ocean, this is what happens. And we have seen this in the last 2 years across 25,000 miles of ocean, the North Pacific, the South Pacific, the North Atlantic, the South Atlantic, and the Indian Ocean. We've trashed our oceans, and the solutions start right here with the next generation. So how are you saving lives? I have one more thing to show you. This is a string of trash you might find today: toothbrushes, lighters, bottle caps. Everything you see here, we pulled out of the stomachs of dead birds. There's so much of our trash out there. You can take a look at this too. It's clean. That it's now getting into the food chain, and that's where it potentially affects you and I. We did a blood test on me 3 years ago and found trace levels of contaminants that stick to plastic in my blood. PCBs, DDT, flame retardants, pesticides that stick to plastic in the ocean, and as Michael said, get into the stomachs of fish when they eat our junk. So we need to change our habits now so that this doesn't affect the next generation, so that I don't pass these chemicals onto the next generation and onto our children. And fortunately, the solutions are right here. We're looking at them. It's education, it's empowerment, it's the next generation learning about how to protect our future. So I thank you all for giving me hope for the world that my daughter comes into. Thank you.